Hey, it's Grady at Twin Creek Audio, back in the studio today. Today I'm going to do another mixing video demonstration with the Soundcraft Sapphyre. I'm going to mix a song from my 2010 album Subliminal Moonshine. The song is called Keeping Up with Relaxation, which, yes, is a play on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, sad to say. Not that I'm a fan of that show or anything, but it was a clever title that I felt like I came up with back then, or something like that. Anyway, today I'm going to do something different. I'm actually going to be mixing through a bus compressor. In this case, it's an FMR Audio RNC compressor, the really nice compressor. So we're going to see what that sounds like when actually mixing through it on the bus, on the master bus of the Soundcraft Sapphyre. I've also got a lot of other rack compressors, and of course the Yamaha Rev500 hooked up for this mix. So let's go ahead and look at what's up on the console, then I'll run the mix, and then I'll show you all of the individual settings on the compressors and things afterwards. Okay, here's what's coming up on the board for this mix. You can ignore these top small faders on the left-hand side. Those are drum sends for actually tracking drums. They're not being used today. Starting from left to right is kick drum, snare drum, stereo toms, stereo overheads with a hi-hat mic blended in, room mic for the drums, bass guitar. Then these are all guitar tracks panned to different directions. This is a stereo pair of channels for the background vocals, the lead vocal, and then this small fader is actually the reverb return from the Yamaha Rev500. I put it closer to me this time. I'm just going to go through some of these guitar tracks and solo these up so you can hear what some of these individual sounds are. That's pretty much the main rhythm guitar track. And then there's that track. And there's this one. Both of those together. Four guitars. There's our reverb. Melody guitar. Acoustic. And the background vocals. Here's the master bus compressor. This is the FMR Audio RNC1773. It's a stereo compressor, and I've heard mixed reports about using this on the master bus for your mix. I've heard that it's great in super nice mode, which is how I have it. I've heard that it's terrible. But anyway, these are the settings that I'm using on the mix on the RNC for the master bus compression today.
Don't give in, just to give it up.
Well, that was a fun mix. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought the RNC sounds pretty good as a 2-bus or a master bus compressor. I kind of liked it. It does seem to do something to the low end. It kind of carves the low end away a little bit, but that's great for, you know, a tight kind of rock mix like I mixed today. So I liked it. I liked all the other compressors in the different roles that I had them in the mix today. And of course I love the way the Soundcraft Sapphyre sounds, and the EQ on the Sapphyre also. EQ time and other stuff too. On the Sapphyre, you have to press this monitor button here on the high and low shelf EQ, and that assigns the high and low shelf EQ and the insert to the monitor channels for your mix down. So I have those down on all these drum channels. And you can see I'm boosting a little bit of the 12K on the kick drum, oddly enough, and a little bit at 3. On the snare drum, I'm boosting some of the 80 Hertz with the low shelf EQ, boosting a little bit at 7K, and taking out some low mids around 400 or 500. Then on the toms, I'm boosting some low mids and some of the low frequency, which is 80 Hertz on this console. The overheads, I'm actually taking out some 12K and above, and then I'm boosting a little bit of 7K and removing some low mids there. The room mic, just boosting some 80. There's no compression on the room mic. The LA Audio 4x4 is on the insert of the kick and the snare channel, but that's it as far as that goes. Bass guitar, not really doing a whole lot to the bass other than boosting a little bit of low mids and a little tiny bit of this 80 Hertz here. Our guitars have a lot of different EQ, boosting some kind of mid-range, some mid-range and some upper mid-range here, removing some lows. This track just had a lot of junk in it, this one here, so I have that cranked down. I probably could have put the high-pass filter on. Oh, I did. Okay, so I have that high-passed. These guitars, I'm just removing some of the high mids that were annoying to my ears, and that's all that's going on there. The background vocals, they're actually EQ'd a little bit differently from each other. Let's look down here. This is the stereo background vocal track, and the EQ on those is a little different on each side, boosting a little bit of mids here and not doing anything to the left side of that other than I'm taking out some of the highs with the high shelf on both of those. Lead vocal track, removing a little bit of 80, boosting a little bit at 5K, and then boosting some low mids again here. I just, kind of use my ears to get that. And then our reverb return over here is just this single fader. So really we just have a mono reverb, and the reason for that is because I ran out of patch cables for the patch bay. Today I have the Urei LA-10 compressor on the lead vocal track, and this is the settings I'm using today. I have the detector circuit a little more toward the peak side. Attack and release are 1 mark. Well, the attack is 2 marks left of center, and the release is 1 mark left of center. Ratio's at 3:1, and I have output gain right between 0 and 10. I don't know how well you can see that. Today on the bass guitar, I'm using the Symetrix 501 with these settings. It's not an auto mode. Ratio is between 2.2 and 5.5. Release right between 30 and 60, and attack is at 1.5. See if I can get the shadow of the camera off that so you can see that a little better. And I do actually have the peak limiter enabled today, and I have it set just a little bit lower than +6 over here. So we have the LA Audio 4x4 on the kick drum for this side. They're not linked this time because I'm using them for 2 separate drums. This is the kick drum. Those are the settings there. The ratio is between 3 and 6, so I'm guessing that's 5:1. Attack is close to 1 millisecond. It's a little slower than 1 millisecond, and release is a little bit slower than 1 second. The snare ratio is 3:1. Attack is roughly the same as the kick drum, and release is straight up and down. Well, it's actually a little bit to the right of 0.5. Then I have some reverb going on with the Yamaha Rev500. I have that on the large room 2 preset, which I didn't edit at all. 10 milliseconds of pre-delay, 1.2 seconds of reverb time, high ratio 0.2, effect level 90, which that's just part of the preset. I could turn that up to 100 since I'm blending it on the console. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Twin Creek Audio YouTube channel. Also make sure to click the notification bell icon for updates on future uploads coming up on this channel. Make sure to check the links in the video description for ways to help support this channel. It's all music that I've produced or been a part of. And I hope that you all have an excellent day, night, evening, weekend, weekday, hour, minute, second, nanosecond, whatever it is you're having. Have a good one. And thanks so much for watching.